Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm in Itasca, Illinois for the Itasca Octoberfast 5K. I've been training for this 5K for a little while. Came down with a head cold this week. Not sure how this race is gonna go. I got here like 30 minutes ago, right at bib and packet pickup. Took all of 6 seconds to get my packet. Sitting in the car for 30 minutes. The race doesn't start for another hour and a half. I can see the porta potties from where I am. There's no line for the porta potties yet, but people are starting to use them. I'm gonna have to use it before I get ready to run, so at some point I'll get out of the car. Getting started on a little bit of a warm-up. It is 8:20. Race starts at 9. I'm gonna jog about a mile, do some stretches, maybe do a couple of strides, and then we'll be off and running. Coming through the mile, 6:02. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Back at the house now. Wanted to give you a little bit of a race recap. I normally, when I do marathons, I'll do one day of just the race video and another video the following day of the race recap. But this is a 5K, it's a little bit shorter, so I thought I'd put it all together in one. So I think the race recap really starts the day before for me. I had gone for an easy run, just a handful of miles, testing out the New Balance Fresh Foam More version 4. And after that run, I just didn't feel quite right. Still felt very congested in the head. I had that head cold that I'd been fighting. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be kind of worth it for me to go drive all the way down, take so much time out of the weekend, and run a race that I knew I wasn't going to hit a PR in. I really left it up to how good of a night of sleep I got that night and see kind of where I was feeling. If the alarm rang and I just felt miserable, I was going to stay in bed and keep sleeping. If the alarm rang and I felt good, I was going to go. Fortunately, I had a pretty decent night's sleep. I've been taking a NyQuil to go to bed the past couple nights, and so that has been helping the sleep quite a bit. And I think that's been giving my body just a little bit of help in kind of fighting and kicking the rest of the sinus congestion. But I still wasn't, you know, like 100%. So I got to the race and I was like, we'll see what I can do. I did my warm up. I remember reading on the course website that there's a couple of hills at the beginning. So I wanted to get a chance to kind of see what they were. And they weren't big hills, but for 5K speed, they were noteworthy. And so I was glad to kind of know what those were ahead of time. And those were within, after the first like quarter mile, but before the first half mile. So relatively early on in the race. I did some of my warm-up routine, an abbreviated version, and then I did some drills and strides. And everything kind of felt fine, but my legs just felt kind of like tingly in a weird way. The quads felt a little bit weak, and I just felt like everything seems a little bit harder than it should be. And I was like, I really still don't know if this is going to be a good day. Maybe I just go out, take it easy, have fun, maybe, you know, kind of cruise in and just get some miles in and enjoy the day as long as I'm here. And then I was thinking a lot about how my daughter's been running cross country. It's her first year doing it. She's 10, and in her school, junior high at 10 years old, can start running cross country in the 5th grade. And so she's doing that. And I've been really having a lot of conversations with her about, like, you know, being able to do more than you think, and really trying to figure out what's the difference between kind of your mind making you scared of working hard versus, you know, your body telling you that something's, like, you know, wrong or hurt. Trying to kind of like get her to start thinking about, like, you know, she can push herself harder than she thinks. Because those were some really big revelations for me early on in cross country when I was a little bit older than her. And I was like, you know, I really got to take my own advice. I can't just keep telling her to do it week after week and not do it myself. So I was like, all right, this week, this race is for my daughter, who I've been pushing not too hard, but, you know, been trying to like have some, you know, mental strength kind of conversations with her. So I went into it with that mindset of, if nothing else, even if the time is terrible and my body feels bad, I can work on getting the mindset in that space of, this is what a hard effort feels like. The race was super easy to kind of navigate around a pretty small field, like a local race put on by the local run club. So everything was super easy and very well organized. I ended up being pretty close to the front, tucked in right behind some people that looked like they were pretty speedy. A couple of people from Illinois Elite, which I believe is the track team, like the club track team for University of Illinois. I could be wrong on that. I don't really know too much about that club. And then a couple of people with some DW running singlets on, which is another local run group in the area. And I had a feeling that they were going to be pretty quick. And then another woman, she looked like she was going to be getting ready to run pretty fast, and she was like right by me too. So I kind of like stuck by them. And once the gun went off, I kind of just stayed with them, remembering that there was going to be some hills in the beginning, and keeping in mind that I always go out too fast at the beginning of a race. I was like, I'm just going to stay with this group of people and just like tuck right in behind them and stay with them, not get ahead, not get too far behind. And like, let's wait till at least after the hills, about the half-mile point, before I start to decide whether like this pace is right or not, or if I need to adjust, go faster or go slower. We got to half-mile point, and it seemed like it was a good group to be with. They were going at about the pace that I was thinking about hitting for the day anyway, which was somewhere in like the 6-minute mile category. So I figured, you know what, I'll just stay here. I felt like I wanted to go a little bit faster, but again, I wanted to practice some early race discipline, so I just stayed kind of there. And it ended up averaging out on the first mile, coming in at 6:02 by Garmin, 6:05-ish by looking at the course mile markers by gun time. So I felt like I was pretty much in the right spot. And for the second mile, I stayed with them. I got the sense that the pace was slowing down a little bit, but I also felt like that was good for me because I wanted to kind of regroup a little bit before I made a final push in the last like 3/4 of a mile of the race. So I felt like that was fine. I was worried for a minute because every once in a while I would look at my watch and I wear the Garmin 255 music for this race, and it looked like our pace was like in the 6:20s, 6:15s, which felt like it was way off. But I also felt like it still felt like we were moving quickly. So I was like, whatever it is, I'm just going to stay here and keep running. We came through the 2-mile mark at about 12:19 is about what I remember in terms of gun time. By my Garmin, it was a 6:11 mile. So I feel like, yeah, it was a bit slower than what I was hoping for, but you know, overall I still felt pretty good about it. After right about the 2-mile mark, then one of the people who was with us in the group, there was 4 of us together, she decided to take off. And she took off pretty hard at the 2-mile mark. And it took me a couple of seconds to realize what was happening. Because I think that I saw the other 2 in front of me, women, they kind of like talked to each other, and they had kind of decided that they were going to let her go, that they didn't want to chase. And I was like, I think these 2 are slowing down, or I don't know what their plans are for today. So I was like, I'm going to go follow that other runner and see if I can stay with her, or at least try to get a little bit closer and maybe like use her as kind of like, you know, keep chasing her as my my rabbit for the rest of the race. Pretty quickly, I was able to kind of catch up to her, and we ran together for a little while. But then I think we hit a turn, and then she started to fade a little bit. I kept looking back, thinking that, you know, maybe I could convince her to try and catch back up because she wasn't that far behind me, and maybe we can run in together. So I kind of stayed there for a little while ahead of her for a little bit. But then with about like 3/4, maybe half a mile left to go, I was like, I don't think that she's going to come up here. And so I decided I was just going to try to kind of keep where I'm at and see how I'm feeling and give whatever I could give for the last like 3 minutes of the race. Right around then, there was a guy on the side of the course, and there weren't that many people at this race. There was a guy that he was someone's dad. And he said, like, go catch the guy in front of you. You can catch him. And this was a guy that we had seen like in front of us the entire race. And I just felt like he was just way too far ahead. But I was like, I don't know if I can. And he's like, go, you can. And I was like, okay, I'll try. See, that's how quiet it was. I was like whispering to myself, I don't think I can. And he corrected me. And so I decided that I would try to at least kind of like, you know, keep him in my eyes, focus on him, and just go. And my mantra for this race was the body knows. Kind of along with some of the things that I've been trying to tell my daughter is that, you know, like in our minds, we might try to like really work hard and like, you know, bite down and grimace and try to like will our way across the finish line. But I think that, you know, that just creates a lot of extra tension. And so I wanted to relax and let the body do what it is going to do. It knows what it's going to do. I've been training for this. It's ready for this. You know, try to, you know, just clear my mind of all thought, kind of in a meditative state, and keep eyes locked on like the shoulders in front of me. I ended up not being able to catch him. I think maybe if the race were a little bit longer, maybe I would have eventually been able to catch him. I also think he kind of pulled up because he had plenty of space on me. At the end, he finished about 10 seconds ahead of me. But it was good to kind of like have that idea that I could maybe chase him down as some motivation to get me through the finish line. The finish for this course is really nice. A nice gradual downhill for the last about 1/4 mile. So it's maybe a little less than that, but it's really nice finish. Makes you feel really speedy, and you start to hear the crowds again. So it was really nice coming in across the finish line. I came in 8 seconds under my previous PB, which isn't that old. I just set it a couple of months ago up in Eugene when I ran the Uplift 5K during World Championships. And so really nice to take off a bunch of time from that PB. It's not as much as I, you know, thought I might be able to do, but given the circumstances, you know, any day that you can run faster than you've ever run before is always a good day. Afterwards, I stuck around by the finish line and tried to cheer everybody in for about 10-15 minutes. A lot of kids running this event. I think if I run this event again next year, I'll probably bring my daughter with me so she can run it as well. I think she would get a good kick out of running this course. And then after a while, then I head back to the car to grab my ID and my phone. So then I could grab a post-race beer. They also had brats available. After all, this was the Itasca Octoberfast 5K. So there's brats and bagels and bananas and oranges and stuff like that as well. And then I actually ended up winning my age group, coming in first. So I stuck around for the awards ceremony afterwards. So that was really fun to be able to kind of podium for the day. So getting the first in the age group is always nice. Don't usually get to do that. So really excited to get a medal for this race. I ultimately came in 7th overall, and I think that normally there's a little bit more competition at this race, a couple more faster runners. Not that there wasn't competition. The guy that came in first came in at 15:20. I think second place came in 15:30. So lots of speedy runners at this race ahead of me, but I think the speed goes usually a little bit deep. But this year, the race happened to coincide with the Mag Mile 5K, 10K. So I think maybe that funneled some of the runners that might have come to this one downtown to be able to run that race. But either way, of the people that showed up, I was the fastest 40 to 44-year-old and 7th overall. So overall, a great day, a fun race. Itasca is a cute little town. Last thing before I go. I did decide to run in the Takumi Sen 8. I've been doing a lot of the workouts in that shoe, both on the track and on the roads. I think that shoe is ideally suited for 5K racing or 5K pace training. And I was really happy with that shoe. It was just so much fun to run in. I got to tell you what, afterwards though, anytime I do a lot of 5K effort work or faster, my hamstrings always really hurt because that's just like a gear that I don't normally get into. And overall, I'm glad that I was able to do a little bit more of that work, but my hamstrings are sore today, the day after the race as I'm talking to you guys now. Looking ahead, that race was exactly 1 month away from the Chicago Marathon, which I'm also set up to run, and have not really been doing a lot of marathon specific training. I've done a couple of long runs with some marathon miles thrown in there, more for testing shoes purposes, but I have done a little bit of work. But it's going to be, you know, there's not a lot you can do in a month, but it's not like I'm coming from couch to marathon. So I'll just be tweaking kind of what I'm doing a little bit now, and heading into marathon training, and I'll give you guys some more details on that once we get into next week when we officially kick off my Chicago Marathon training block. But that's what's coming next. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the comments down below, or better yet, stop by the live stream to do right here on YouTube. Monday through Friday, you can always talk to me in the chat. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?